and welcome to this week's YouTube video. Do you struggle to paint the personality of your subjects? In this week's YouTube video, I'm going to give you some tips for overcoming this issue and show you how I managed to get the personality of Elmo to shine through. Number 1. Plan your painting before you start. I cannot show you the reference photo because it was a commission, but the background had much more detail in it than I have painted. I cut this detail out and instead focused on getting the light correct. This area here is lit by the sun. I also focused on the simple shapes I was looking at. I basically have 3 areas: background trees, a grassy area and a wooden table that the cat was lying on. I covered my paper before I started with a wash of transparent yellow oxide and a small amount of ultramarine. This gave me a warm glow to the paper. I could then paint in my foliage very loosely, allowing the areas of the background wash to show through. It gives a very effective but very easy to do effect without much effort on my part. It's more important to concentrate my painting efforts on getting the cat correct. So before you start painting in lots of detail into your background, ask yourself, is this necessary to the overall success of the painting? Does painting this detail give my viewer any important information for interpreting the painting, or will it just conflict with my object? Very often, detailed backgrounds are unnecessary. Number 2, paint what you see, not what you think you see. This may seem a little obvious, but often we paint what we think we see. Here my subject is a black and white cat, but was it? When I really looked at the reference photo and held a grey card up to my cat, the grey card showed me that the colour I was looking at was blue. When I held a white card up to Elmo's lighter areas, the card showed me I was looking at a warm muted orange for this area, which then transitioned to a cooler green as I moved around this side. Of course, you can change the colours that you are seeing if you want, but my advice would always be to get as much colour into your dark areas and light areas as you can. It will give your painting a sense of form, and this will make it appear more lifelike. Number 3. Focus on shapes and values rather than detail. Seeing my cat in terms of large simple blocks of value will actually make it easier for me. If I turn this cat into a simple value study, you'll see what I mean. I actually need very little detail for this to make sense. If you are struggling to see the values clearly, try squinting at your subject matter. It will reduce what you are looking at to sort of this. You'll then be able to see the larger blocks of value. Try and get these in first. You can then add a bit more detail to the painting as you progress with it. You'll find you do not need to add much of the detail. I did this for my grassy area and also the white area. There was much more detail in the photo and you could clearly see a lot of the individual hairs. But painting each hair will not add anything to the painting, and I'll probably find it ends up detracting from the cat's eyes, which are the most important part. Number 4, understand what the light is doing. This is really important as it will give me a big clue as to what I am looking at. Firstly, the light is warm. I can clearly see sunshine in my grassy areas. I know that warm light equals cool shadows, so I know that my shadows should be cool. However, there is a caveat to this. It is more important to paint what you see than what you know. Even though I know the shadows to be cool, according to my rule, my shadow warms up a little in this area here. It starts with a greenish tinge, then transitions into orange and then back to green. Painting this temperature transition from cool to warm to cool will again give my cat a sense of form and realism. I can also see that my cat is backlit as he has a halo of light around him. What do I know? My light should be warm. I double checked this with my white card and it shows me that there is indeed yellow areas in my haloed area. As white is a cool colour, I need to make sure I put some yellow into it just to add a bit of warmth. I will also need to add stronger strokes of saturated warm colour, like oranges in the areas beside my highlights. This will make the haloed area really glow and make my painting look more believable. Number 5. View your colours in terms of temperature. Viewing your palette in terms of warm and cool temperatures will really help you in selecting colours. Let's have a look at the colours on my palette for this painting. I am using cadmium yellow light, yellow ochre light, transparent yellow oxide, cadmium red, alizarin crimson, transparent red oxide, viridian, ultramarine deep, and titanium zinc white. I have also mixed up a few other colours, a black red and a black green. When I mix these two together, they give me my rich black, which can be warm or cool. I've also mixed up a purple and 2 oranges. If I show you the colour wheel, you'll see that red is the warmest colour on my palette. Blue and white are my coolest colours. So all you need to remember is that as colours move away from red, they get cooler. Everything is relative to what is next to it. So yellow is a warm colour, but placed next to orange, it's cooler. If it's helpful, set out your palette in order of temperature from warm to cool. Later on in the painting, I added ivory black to my palette to help me with the cat's dark areas. In terms of temperature, ivory black would sit in the middle between these two blacks. It is cooler than my black red, but warmer than my ultramarine. It's worth remembering that, and it can provide a useful colour transition when used alongside colourful blacks. So how have I painted Elmo with this palette? For the black areas, I have used my rich blacks. I have pushed this one further towards blue than a green and mixed in a little of my red. This gives me a cool purple. I've then alternated between a black purple and a black red across the head. This warm and cool transition gives my cat a sense of form. For these slightly lighter areas, I've used my ivory black and a little white. You'll notice that grey really stands out between that colour. For the cat's ears, I have used this purple, but have added a little green from my cooler areas. I've then added a little of this orange to my purple for the warmer transition and then some white for the lighter areas. For the white area, I have this rich black plus this orange plus white. Where it is cooler, I have used more of this colour. Where it is warmer, I have used more of this orange. As I move to this side, I've used viridian plus white. For my bright halo area, I've used my transparent yellow as a bridging colour into my white areas. I've then used a combination of white plus transparent yellow, white plus cadmium yellow, and white on its own. I alternate that combination across the area to give it a bit of variety. Number 6. Pay attention to your edges. To give a little life to your object, make sure you vary your edges between lost, soft and hard. Painting alla prima will help you with this because the wet on wet paint lets you manipulate the edges and pull them into each other. Brush selection and how you use them is also very important. Using a variety of brushes will give you different marks. These long-haired combers are great for creating a soft fur effect. These flat synthetic brushes are great for laying the paint on, a bit like if you were buttering toast. You can also flick the paint around too, just as I have around the halo area. To recap then, plan your painting, paint what you see, focus on shapes and values, understand the light, understand temperature, pay attention to your edges. I hope you've enjoyed today's video and found it useful. Please like and subscribe if you can, and check out my website sarahhallidayart.com, where you will find examples of my work and also details of online classes that I run. Thank you for watching and see you for the next one.